This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without consequence. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
We can enter any home we want, and we will.
Shouts to Purple Groovy, IMZ early in the chat. I see y'all.
Don't force us to hurt you.
Make sure you hit the like button as you step in.
Purge.
Let's get in some trouble today. If y'all can hear me real well, I want my early number ones in the chat. Let's go.
You better find someplace else to go.
Here we go.
I got a wicked sweet tooth tonight.
Yeah.
And I want my candy back.
I believe we are ready for another purge of the BS. Thank you to my mods for jumping on nice and early today so we can get this thing started. Happy Thursday to everybody. Hope you had a good week. It's been an interesting week, as usual, because we all live here, so you know what I'm talking about. We got plenty of BS to purge for this week. But as we get into it, since we just got started, I want to make sure you guys hit the like. And there's apparently some new feature called hype that you should see under the video. It says like hype this video. I don't know what it does. YouTube sent me an email about it. So if you can test it out, see what it does, thank you in advance. Now, with that being said, let's see here. We got 40 people in here. I want to make sure the likes are up because we're going to get into this purge of the BS. Thank you once again to our show sponsor, Freeman Services, for putting this thing together. And thank you very much to my mods for jumping in nice and early so I can go ahead and get this thing started. Now, folks, before we get too deep into this purgerific Thursday, in case you guys didn't know, Elon Musk is calling for a boycott of Netflix. Okay? I'm covering it because it's the BS, and we must purge it. And apparently, Elon Musk is upset because a show is shaming characters for misgendering. Okay? Misgendering. Now, I don't know why we keep coming back to this conversation. I don't understand why it keeps going back and forth. It either is or it ain't. Does it get hard or does it get wet? You know what I'm saying? Can we simplify this whole thing? It is confusing. And people do get a little mixed up. So let's see what the clip is that Elon is talking about. We're going to unpack it real quick. Then we're going to get into our full episode. But this just happened. So if you feel like boycotting Netflix, I'm offering you the opportunity to do so. Whether or not I do it, I don't know. I don't watch the show that they're talking about, so it's not affecting my subscription right now. So anyway, let's do that. See what we got over here. Okay. All right. So this is trending right now. Now here's the thing. I don't even know if Elon has a paid Netflix subscription. I don't know what kind of TV and streaming services he watches, but this is a repost where he says cancel Netflix. So he obviously wasn't watching it himself. He just saw this somewhere else, decided to repost it on his social here, which gets millions and millions of views every time he puts something up. And I guess he's hoping to have people boycott Netflix. I don't know. We'll see. So let's see what the clip is about, and then we'll see. Okay.
It took a while, but we finally found a file for a Bailey Del Vecchio. Is 32 Burn Hill Road still the current address? Yeah. Have you been giving him fluids? If he's dehydrated, we'll need to place an IV. Have him change into this. Well.
I hear someone's not feeling well. Let's take a look at the little man.
Can I please talk to you two outside?
All right, I already have issues. First of all, why is the child and another child the only people in there right now? There's supposed to be adults in there. All right, come on. Before I get too into it.
I know that you guys are busy, but as you would see, if you looked at her and not her chart, Bailey is not a boy. And by treating her like one, you are completely ignoring who she is. You're making her feel insignificant and humiliated. And that's not going to help her feel good or safe or calm.
All right, I don't know.
From here on out, please recognize her for who she is. And if at all possible, could you find me a non-blue hospital gown?
A non-blue hospital gown? Okay. I mean...
Dad. Oh, Marianne.
All right. Let's unpack this real quick, because they're calling for a boycott over this. All right, there's a couple of things that I have issue with the setup in the first place. First of all, it shouldn't have been a child in the room with a child while doctors are explaining anything. They should have been immediately looking for adults. So that was a misrepresentation of how things happen in the hospital. Also, they could make this point that they were trying to make about the misgendering of this child. Now, the child is in clothing with hair that does look female, right? That looks kind of like a little girl. So, okay. But what are we going for here? Like, I don't know, man. This conversation is so weird to me, because we have so much other stuff going on that to take the time to put this into a television show for people that are paying for streaming services, as if to make a specific point about this. I mean, I get it. There's an agenda. People who live alternate lifestyles want to be recognized for what they want to be recognized for. There's nothing wrong with having goals. All I'm saying is you can't be offended if people don't either recognize what it is you want them to recognize, or if they don't want to say all that. Like, if you're a doctor and you're looking at a chart and it says you have a male patient, then you're going to default to male pronouns. Now, you can always make a correction later, and the doctor, in my opinion, should have the choice of identifying a person that way, because to them, it might be weird to say all that. So I don't think we should have to force it on anybody either. But I don't think that, honestly, Netflix has stuff on there, that's probably way worse than this. I don't really watch much Netflix, if any at all. I catch comedy specials and sometimes like special events that Netflix will sponsor, but I don't watch a lot of Netflix. I've never seen this show before, but it's called The Babysitter's Club. I think I might want more context to the show, because this could be an isolated incident within the show and not worth canceling entire Netflix subscriptions over. You could just watch something else. That's always possible. I know a lot of people don't know that, but you could always just like watch something else and it wouldn't even be a big deal. That's all I'm saying. But if you guys want to listen to billionaire Elon Musk and cancel your Netflix subscriptions because of a show that you've never seen before that he reposted a clip of that he never even watched himself, feel free. Y'all go right ahead and cancel Netflix over what Elon told you to do, over a show you weren't watching anyway. That's perfect. That's how we do around here. So anyway, see what the chat thinks. Chat, do you guys think that show is worth canceling, your Netflix subscription over? Like, I get what we're saying. I get what we're saying here. And I believe in respecting everybody. But to weave it into a show, normally when you do things in a show, everything has a point. It's like a storyline. There's a point to it. So I don't know if the whole show is about this, or if it was just a scene within the show that happened to be like this. I don't know. I'm probably not going to tune into it, especially if this is how it's going, but I have that choice. A lot of us, that's the problem, man. It's like y'all act like y'all can't just turn away from certain things. Now, some stuff is forced upon you. Like if you go into a situation and they got the whole bathroom thing going on where whatever you identify as, you can go use that bathroom, that puts something like directly in your face. You can't avoid it because you're using the bathroom, right? But a TV show like this, you could easily avoid it. Do you need to cancel your entire Netflix subscription? I think Netflix is trying to be as inclusive as possible because they have a very broad base of customer. So, like I said, it depends on, is this what the show is about, or is this just a scene within a show? Because if it's just a scene within a show, that's just a representation of the United States and really the world at this point. You will get a scene like this in the show called life. So, like I said, it all depends on full-blown context. But Elon can go somewhere with that. Elon, you don't run nothing, bro. Just being honest. Why would you want people to cancel Netflix? Like, if you have an issue with a show, let's talk about the show. But some of us like to be entertained by Netflix. You get to be entertained by firing off rockets. So you probably don't need a Netflix subscription. You can just create your own entertainment. And you have a social media that gets out to millions of people that you got to man all the time. So I'm not listening to Elon Musk on that one. I will not be canceling my Netflix subscription because Elon Musk is not the guy that I listen to when it comes to things like that. And I know he's already a little pissed off because of his transgender child. He's been mad about the woke mind virus and all that for years. So anytime he has an opportunity to throw some shots at that group, he'll do so. So ain't nobody listening to Elon. But let's get to the next thing. Ridiculous. Let's see what we got here. Hold on. Let me change my transition back to the bullhorn who's pulling up. See if we got for the next one. So let's get into our actual episode. 40 is the new 20, right? And the terminology 40 is the new 20 normally means like you're older and in life it's like you're younger, which sounds like a good thing, but we're not going to go that route today. It's not a good thing, okay? 40 is the new 20 in this show is basically saying that there are 40-year-old people that act like they're 20. And I mean like mentally, they're supposed to be grown, they're not. 40 is the new 20 is where that came from. So for those of you that are here, I just want to say thank you for stopping in to purge the BS with me. This applause is for you. Okay? Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. You wasn't even supposed to do all that, but that's a lot. So anyway, let's ask the question, right? 40 is not too late to start living your life, but you should have lived a life by 40, if that makes sense. Like you should have some milestones that have been reached, some goals that you had when you were younger that now you have already accomplished by 40. Not all goals, maybe not everything, but you should have a list of things that you've done, right? And this clip came to me today. Actually, it was late last night, where a young lady is basically, I don't want to say crashing out. She's having an emotional breakdown as she has viewed her life, I guess, in an objective format, and she's not very pleased with what she's ended up with. So let's go over the clip. We're going to talk real quick because she's 40, and I know the feeling of 40. So let's see what we got here. No reply. Thanks for jumping in the chat. I see you in there. So, but there's a different thing when we say 40 is the new 20 today. I do understand the normal concept where it's like, you know, you're living like you're young, but you're at 40. And that's fine to some degree, but not in all ways. So let's see what this lady's talking about. This is a short clip, so good. Good. Short clip. All right, so this lady's 40, and let's hear her.
I'm turning 40 this year, and everything is just hitting me right now. It's like not where I wanted to be. I haven't succeeded at anything. God, have I even tried? Like, I don't even know anymore. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to cope with anything, and I don't know how to, I did this whole growing thing wrong. Like I'm supposed to be an adult. I'm supposed to be able to handle these things, and I can't handle anything.
This is some real shit.
And I literally am just realizing, like, it's been 40 years of this, and like, it's 40 years of just being confused and not knowing, and like figuring things out slower, and like not like I haven't built anything. I have nothing like to show for this time. I just don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm lost. I'm afraid, and I don't.
Okay. Well, I gotta pause for a second. That was very emotional because I'm sure she's not alone. At 40 years old, you get to that point. You done spent, 20 years. Not necessarily wasting time, but trying to figure it out. And a lot of times, most of us don't really get it together until about 40. As far as at least the guys. I'll say this, the gentlemen, 40 is definitely the new 20. Because at 40, you've probably gotten a career going pretty well. If you're going to have money, you got some by then. If you are going to have children, you definitely have them before you're 40. I don't know many guys who have kids that didn't have their first kid before they were 40 years old. So for a male, 40 is different because for guys, it's kind of like you still got some running left because your soldiers are still working. You're probably just now really getting into your career. You might have bought a house or something by then. So for gentlemen, 40's okay. But for some of the young ladies, okay, especially the lady in this video, she seems like a nice young lady. I'm going to be honest with you. She doesn't seem like she's ratchet and like, a problem in the community. She just doesn't give off that vibe. But she's probably been working a dead-end job for 5 years straight, not really sure what she was trying to do, probably went to college and majored in something that didn't do nothing for her. And then you push yourself, 10, 15 years into the future, and you haven't gotten, looking at the thing, she doesn't have a ring on her finger, so she hasn't gotten married. I don't think she has any kids, which could be a good thing. But it's just like aging is not a problem unless you're still the same as you were when you were 20. So if you were 20 running the streets, which I was, and just being out there, just wilding out, just doing whatever, and now you're 40 doing that, then you're an idiot. And it doesn't matter what sex you are, right? But what happens if you trying your best? If you are doing your best, right? And you're doing the best you can, and 20 plus years passes by from the time that you're finishing high school, getting into college and all that. Let's say you don't finish college, right? Or then, you know what? Let's just say you do finish college. You finish college by the time you what? Like 21, 22, somewhere in there. So you got 22, you got a major you didn't like, and now you're going to go, 18 years into the future, and you never really build anything. That's enough to make you break down. So I feel for this lady. I really do. Because it's rough out here, man. It really is. It's rough for the women. It's rough for the men. And it's even rougher because we're not able to really communicate with each other. Like, men's expectations versus women's expectations. Two totally different planes. Two totally different love languages. So it's very hard. And then what'll happen, this young lady will link up with somebody, and then like 75% of those marriages will end in divorce anyway. So it's such a slippery slope. But to be out here at 40 feeling like you're by yourself, or just that you haven't accomplished anything. I don't know if she feels like she's alone in her life, but hopefully she understands that there's plenty of people out here to feel exactly the same way you do, ma'am. And, you know, I wish you didn't vent it all out on social media, but it is a topic that most people can identify with, which is basically like a midlife crisis. So, unfortunately, we have both segments of the 40 is the new 20 out here. We got grown-ups that act like babies, that basically act like children. And then we have people who come into their lives at 40 and they're able to build. And so the 40 becomes the new 20 because they got a little bit of time. But keep in mind, 40 is only 20 years away from 60. At 40, you've definitely lived half of your life. Whatever your life's going to be, you definitely at the halfway point. If you happen to make it to 80, 90, okay, but still, 40, you halfway done. And if you're not satisfied halfway through, it's a lot to take in. Pause. So I'm just hoping this lady gets the help that she needs, because she seems like a nice lady. I don't know, she could be a jerk offline, but just the energy she's giving out, she's got a Nirvana shirt on me. She's kind of old school in a way. You know, normally those are nicer people. She got the nice little curly hair. I think it's hers. So she's not giving off that I just want a bunch of attention vibe, but she obviously wants attention. But if she's really feeling like this, and those look like real tears, her nose is all red and stuff, she's crashing out. This is basically a cry for help. So hopefully she gets the help that she needs, you know? But it is rough out here, y'all. It is rough out here. Now, we're going to get into how rough it actually is out here, but not before y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all smash the like button, hit the hype. If you want to support the channel, support the show, make sure that you send super chats, make your voice heard from the chat. And if you would like to support Freeman Services directly, our show sponsor, make sure that you go to Cash App, $ Freeman SVCS. Okay, if you want to check out the website, that's freemansvcs.org. Okay, it's Freeman Services. So thank you very much once again. So we're going to get into what happens when it gets real rough out here, okay? I'm bringing on a crowd favorite here for our next segment. So some of you guys are familiar with Grady Judd. Grady Judd is a sheriff in Polk County, Florida, who for some reason has it worked out with the media that pretty much every day he's doing a press conference telling you about some people that he done caught. And because it is Florida, some of the stories and the crimes are sort of humorous, okay? So I want y'all to see this clip.
There's things in life you just can't.
I forgot what they called the operation. I think it was Operation Transformer or something like that. But basically, Grady Judd is going after the Johns in Polk County, Florida. Y'all just got to see it. Y'all just got to see it. There's really no other way to say it. Y'all just got to see it. Does this say F around and find out? That's the name of the operation. F around and find out again. So they have a literal operation in Polk County, Florida, Grady Judd, sheriff, called F around and find out. That is, I don't know where they found Grady Judd. I don't know what warehouse they built this man in, but that's pretty funny. And I'll be honest, if you got to work for a sheriff's department, it'd be nice to have a group that has a little sense of humor, but that's actually pretty. So let's see what this is about, because I told y'all it's rough out here, and it gets so rough out here that sometimes people default to hiring folks to do things that they want done.
There's things in life you just can't believe. So you order up a prostitute, right? This prostitute lives with his mother, by the way. He's got a massive criminal history, a 21-year criminal history with 31 criminal charges. So you order up a prostitute.
Order up.
And that's what you think you're getting. Now, when you look at that, you go, wow, that's pretty rough, but, you know, any port in a storm. And then the next morning when you wake up, you find out this is who it really is.
Yo.
Yeah. We call that coyote ugly. You see, he's laying on your arm in bed. You go, well, it was rough last night, but I've sobered up. I think.
Yo, all right, I gotta pause it here because we're watching this, okay? Imagine these people, you see the people behind them that are listening to this in real time? They're supposed to be, you know, poised. They can't even, you can see everybody's got a smirk or a smile on their face. But the black dude, J. Coleman, you see him, the black dude in the back, this dude right here, look at his face. Oh my God. Yo, check this out. All right, I'm gonna back it up just a little bit. So I'm trying to see, everyone in the shot got a smile on their face. I don't see not one person, maybe this little stoic lady in the back with the brunette, but she's holding it in. She's doing one of those, you know, where you kind of hold it in. All right. I wonder if they can see the photos from, yeah, they can, because I know how Grady Judd writes information and stuff on the back. So, yo, look at the black dude again. He got his eyes. All right. So for those that are just tuning in, Grady Judd is warning people about hiring prostitutes. That's basically what this is about. And somebody hired the face that they got on the left there, but they ended up with the person that's on the right in the morning. I guess the night before. Oh man, this is just bad.
Last night.
Let's just see what we got
I've
here.
sobered up. I think I'll just chew my arm off and ease away so I don't disturb him or wake him up. All right, so you think you're buying this, you're getting this. He's got 31 criminal charges, and heck, if you're lucky, he doesn't kill you overnight. That was Ernest Holmes from Lakeland. But then you've got Antavion Harrison.
Oh!
You order up. This is a real professional. $1,000 for full service.
$1,000 for this thing. Really? I told y'all it's rough out here. When you paying $1,000 for this dude, it's rough out here, man. I feel bad for whoever is whoever, but I'm just saying, it is rough out here.
No condom. This person's already on felony probation. They show up and you go, hey. Next morning, you wake up and there he is.
Yo.
Now, first off, come on, man.
Yo. This is who you end up with. Boy, Grady Judd is trying to give people a warning. It is rough out here, and this is what people are paying $1,000 for. It's no wonder people start selling stuff. If you're paying $1,000 for this dude, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm not saying I would sell my stuff. My stuff is precious. But what I'm saying is, if this dude can make $1,000, now granted, a lot of butt sex involved in this situation, but what I'm saying is $1,000 is all right money for certain people. So I can see why this gentleman would partake in selling butt. I wouldn't do it.
At this point in time, you call your brother. You say, do I have a surprise for you? Come get him.
Is there more?
This is what we're seeing in these undercover operations. The strangest deviant conduct you can imagine. And then there is...
Oh, there's more.
Rodrigo Molina Anduez from New York.
Uh-oh.
This is what you ordered. She's here illegally from Venezuela. $700.
Well, at least he said she. He respected the pronouns. Okay. So Grady Judd respects the pronouns. Okay. Grady Judd respects the pronouns. All right? Even though he's kind of it's kind of being sarcastic here, but even Grady Judd found a way to respect the pronouns. So let's see.
She is he.
Shit.
This is what you wake up to. This is what we're trying to do, is protect people from this outrageous conduct, because they have no idea many times when...
Hold on. First of all, Mr. Judd, I'm going to tell you right now, they have an idea. They just don't know it's that bad. You see what I'm saying? They have an idea. They just don't know it's that bad. It's rough out here, man. And these folks are getting some money for, and I'm pretty sure the people know that that's a dude. Like, I don't think they're being fooled. I think the fact that the amount of makeup and stuff and the wigs and all that can make a person look totally different. And that's males and females. I know some women that look totally different with no wig and no makeup. Some of them look just like these dudes. Some of them do. So you might not be super surprised when you wake up. Just being honest. Just being honest. I feel like these people knew what they were purchasing when they purchased them, and they were looking for a good time, I guess. And so even though they woke up next to a dude, they knew that that's who they was getting. And like I said, I know some women that do the same thing. They take their hair and eyelashes and makeup off, and they look like a dude. Not all women, obviously, but there's some masculine looking women out there. So this isn't much different than what you would get there, except this woman has a penis, which definitely changes the dynamic. Okay, so be careful out there, Johns. They're getting you with the makeup and the hair. They're getting you. And Sheriff Grady Judd is apparently arresting those people for doing that to you. He feels bad for the guy. This is rough out here. Jay Coleman, everybody in here, everybody, okay? I'm not promoting prostitution, because you know how the algorithm gets with us on this channel. Shouts to my man Sonny Brick stopping in as well. Brick's good to see you, man. But yeah, I'm just saying, I know some ladies that look just like that. I hate to say it. But y'all, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's catfishing. It's catfishing. It's catfishing, yo. Sorry. Okay. All right. Y'all be careful out there. So let's get into some police stuff, okay? Since we're in Grady Judd's area, and since Grady Judd is at least somewhat entertaining, we're going to go to a police interaction that's not as entertaining. Special shouts to Sonny Bricks with the super chat over there. Sonny Bricks put in, good to be seen, bro. Man, it is good to be seen, right? Because it is crazy out here right now. That's why I'm softening it up with this other stuff, because it is butt naked berserk right now. Jay Coleman is over here putting out his standards of how he engages in solicitation. This is why I can't have live chat replay, because that is literally him saying, well, I want to check up. What are you checking up front? You going to have somebody drop trial in front of you? You want to check up front like that? Is that what you mean? I don't think you're going to do that. I don't think you're going to do that at all. And if you do, you know, that's more power to you, but it's rough out here. Let's look for the indicators, the Adam's apple, you know. Or if that's your thing, if you want a sword fight, hey, joust your ass away, man. Have your fun. Okay? I'm just playing with you, Jay Coleman, man. Thank you for stopping in. So anyway, let's get to these police. All right, let's get to the police. It's rough out here. It is rough out here. All right, so the police apparently were trying to de-escalate a situation. They apparently didn't do too well with it. We are going to cover it briefly. We got 2 clips here, so let me load them both up. Let me put both loads up. And hey, be more like Sonny Bricks, folks. You see that super chat? See, Bricks supports channel. Because that's my man Bricks. Known this dude since we was teenagers. So I appreciate you for that, because most of your family and your close friends, like outside of the internet, they don't really support that much. It's the people, the random folks on the internet that are the most loyal supporters. So make sure you are more like Bricks. Be like Bricks, okay? You don't get nothing else from this episode today. It is be like Bricks. And secondarily, it's also Gandhi's birthday, so I'll quote him real quick by saying, be the change that you want to see in the world. So it's Gandhi's birthday for those that are celebrating it. I don't know what you do for Gandhi's birthday, like drink, or do you just meditate? I don't know. But anyway, this clip came down the pipeline yesterday with an officer it looks like he's overreacted. Let's just see what the hell he's doing. And let me load the second clip up first so I don't have to come away from it. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Bring it on over. All right, so let's see what this guy's about.
Bro, come here. Come here. Yeah, you see. Get down.
Oh, you're about to get
no,
you can't
get on the ground.
What the fuck?
Get on the ground.
Oh, those are kids.
All right, go
ahead. Hey, sir, can you call the cops, please? Hey, call the police.
I am the police.
What are you doing?
Get the fuck on the ground.
No, hey, stop. No, hey,
damn.
Nicholas, stop. George, stop.
Ooh. Okay, this is wild. Okay, so I don't know what these kids were doing. I do not know what these kids were doing. I do see that this officer, he doesn't look like a regular officer. He's got on deck shorts and shit and some Skechers. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he's on duty doing something else. Maybe he's an undercover or something. But he just doesn't look like a regular patrol officer or an officer that was called to the scene of whatever this is. So he's grabbing a bag from these kids. I wonder if he thinks there's a weapon in the bag or something. Let's see what's up.
Stop. Stop. Hey, no. Stop. Do not shoot. Why are you putting on the ground? Why are you doing what?
Get on the ground.
Okay. Bro, what are you doing?
Get on the fucking ground.
Okay, he's definitely a real sheriff, but I don't think he's on duty. I don't know if he got out of a car. Did he walk up the street? All I'm saying is these are kids, and I'm still not sure why he's doing all this. But it's obvious he's not responding to a crime because there's no other officers there. So this isn't a call response. There would have been at least 2 officers. You would have seen some flashing lights and shit, you know? So he's taking it upon himself to do whatever this is. And he's taking it upon himself to wear these goofy-ass shorts, too, while he does it. Look at this guy. You can't take him serious. All right, let's see.
Why are you putting on?
Wow.
Why are you doing what?
Wow.
Get on the ground.
Okay. Bro, what are you doing?
Get on the fucking ground.
No, help! What, dude, what are you doing?
Hey!
Why are you pointing that gun at me? Dude, what are you doing? Hey, help!
Yo, he got on the Wallies. He got on the Wallies, yo, the low-cut Wallies. He's definitely not on duty with this outfit and these shoes on. So I don't know what context I need other than exactly what the kids did that got him doing all this, but this is definitely not a sanctioned operation. This is not a Grady Judd sanctioned operation that he's taking part in. He is probably just coming outside his house, and he the police, and he's just trying to run shit. That's what I'm seeing so far, because they don't. This is definitely not the police issued footwear. Okay.
Mom! 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 Mom!
Okay.
Mom!
All right, son. Okay.
Mom! He's dragging him! Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now! Dude, what the fuck is your problem? Mom! Oh! Mom! Stop! Yo!
I'm going to tell you right now.
Call the sheriff's office. Come on.
All right, I need more context, because I will say this. If that was any child screaming for their mama and their mama heard them, mama might not want to know. Mama might not want to know that this is going on, because mama might come out swinging. Like, if this is your kids and this person is, like I said, I need more context. But you're right, Bricks, they was moccasins, bro. He had the broke down back and everything. They was house shoes. They were like the shoes that Ice Cube had on at the end of Boys in the Hood. So he was definitely not on duty. And he was in the house. He probably got tired of them outside playing hockey or whatever the hell they were doing in the middle of the street. He threw his vest on because it was hanging by the door, and he wanted to come out and flex with his moccasins and his damn deck shorts on. So I'm going to see if there's any additional context under the video as to, like, what was this about? Well, it says he was suspended without pay. So obviously this was out of line. Yeah, I don't see what the whole thing is. They didn't give me, now they're talking about George Floyd. See, that's why you can't be on X. They be on some dumb shit on X. You know, I just want to see the clip. I want to get some good context, right? But instead of somebody saying why the officer was there, but like I said, there's no police cars behind him. So he probably lives in the area, and he was tired of them outside skateboarding or whatever the hell they were doing out front, and came out there and did that. I don't know. Oh, my resident information specialist, no reply, has come through with some information. What we got? We still don't know why he was there, though. I mean, I would have stripped him of his pay and all that shit, too. That makes sense. But I was just wondering, was he responding to a call, or was he just on his sofa trying to watch the game and they were being too loud outside and he just flipped the hell out? Probably had alcohol involved. I feel like alcohol is involved in this. This has a very alcoholic smell to it. So that's one officer. Let's see what the other unhinged officer is. Hold on. Told you we had two of them. We got here. All right, so this police officer and a constable get into a heated argument. Now, guys, the reason why I'm showing this is we need to understand that there are some wild-ass police officers on the street. Not all of them. Not even most of them. But there's some wild ones on the street, and you got to be very, very, very careful of them. Because you don't know what they done had to drink, or if their wife was cheating on them the night before, and now they wake up the next morning with a badge, a gun, and a vendetta, and you just happen to be in the crosshairs. You got to be more careful. It's rough out here. Let's see what these two are about. You got like an undercover truck or something.
Hey! What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm chasing her.
Why?
No, she come through. She'll run at 50 miles an hour. She's running 85 miles an hour.
Who are you?
I'm a constable, Jefferson County constable.
Okay.
She run the stop sign right down here, but there she is.
Okay, that vehicle there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me pull over.
Yeah, you let's all move over there. Okay.
Hello.
You just said that. Okay. You need to settle down, okay?
I'm asking you for your driver's license insurance.
Hold up, bro. Are you doing a traffic stop? He doesn't have jurisdiction. Well, he has entitlement and privilege apparently, so he does have jurisdiction. Hold up, before I move on. Okay, so the deputy confronted the team. I told you, they were making too much noise in the street, And he saw his vest by the door and said, I know how to handle this shit. And he went outside with flexing his freaking moccasins and his deck shorts with his little vest on. He had the whole vest on with a leisure outfit. Like, you're not even believable. That's kind of like this guy. He's got a regular gray t-shirt on. You don't even look like an undercover. You look like a weird old man. Let's see what's up.
Registration several times. You run 80 miles an hour coming up Highway 15. You run this stop sign light right down here.
I was scared. You're not in a police car.
That is a police vehicle.
You're not in a uniform. How do I know that? There's so much going on out here. How do I know that?
Don't holler at me.
You are yelling at me.
Here, do me a favor.
Just back up.
You're in my town now. You're going to back up when I tell you to
no,
back up.
Don't start, baby. Don't start.
Back up.
Uh-oh, don't start.
You need to chill out. You need to chill out. Just go over there.
No, don't you tell me what to do. Go. I was going to give you a warning.
Hey, do you know what jurisdiction you're in right now?
Yes, I know.
So back up.
It don't matter. I come into this jurisdiction with my lights on chasing her.
Yeah.
I have every right.
That does not look like a police vehicle.
I don't care what you think.
Understand?
Well, I will say this. This does not look like a police vehicle. So the young lady has a point. And y'all have heard the stories about people impersonating cops, pulling over women, and sexually assaulting them. So I can see why she might have been a little leery about that. So the other officer, I'm commending the other officer because he's not backing down from this. He's over here. He's like, yo, you need to chill out. That doesn't look like a police car. Like, if you want to give somebody a speeding ticket, that's one thing, but you weren't on patrol doing speed anything. You said something about her running a stoplight. You're going to need some dash cam for that, bro. So, yeah, he's definitely out of line. Let's see where this goes.
Back up.
Let me tell you something, buddy.
606. Give me a deputy out here.
Yeah, get a deputy.
Get back. I'm not arguing with you.
I am conducting this stop.
Go over there.
Don't tell me what to do.
No.
She has been nothing but trouble. She pulled away from a traffic stop.
Okay, and I'll figure that out in a second. Right now, you're in my town, okay? So you're going to chill out. You're not even in your jurisdiction anymore. You didn't call in.
Out of my jurisdiction.
Did you call in a stop? Did you let county know that you were coming?
No.
No.
He screwed up.
Exactly. So I don't know any of this is true.
Well,
so you can sit back and wait.
What you want to do? You understand?
Go. I'm not arguing with you.
You
Go.
ain't going to argue. I promise you.
Now let's take it back just a little bit here, right? I don't know who the officer is that's the initiator, but I got to give it up for that officer, man. I'm not gonna lie, because most officers would have just stood back and let this man have at it with this young lady, and I would venture to say that she probably didn't get any charges. Face is blurred out, you know. But there is a problem here. It's like when you give certain people this power, this badge, right? You give certain people a badge, and they just start acting a freaking fool. This guy, like I said, he's got on a T-shirt. He's in a Ford F-150, maybe. It doesn't even look like an F-150. I forgot what kind of truck it was. What kind of truck is it? Go back to this thing. Yeah, it's like a F-150 or a GMC Sierra or some shit. But it doesn't look like a police car. I can see why somebody would not know that that was the cops. And he gets out a little hot. The other officer is there, so he should have deferred to the other officer knowing he was in a different jurisdiction. But this dude just was very pissed at this lady, probably because she had a nicer vehicle than him. I don't know what she was driving, but it seemed nice. It looked like a X5 or some one of them BMW trucks. So this is part of the problem, guys. Is we got unhinged officers that don't even think about the fact that they don't even look like cops. That they're out of their jurisdiction or off duty, like the first guy, bothering people on the street, probably couldn't get anything to stick because of what actually happened. Same thing with that other officer. I'm glad he's off the force, but this guy's an OG. That means he's been this kind of cop for quite some time. Probably has a reputation for being an asshole in his actual jurisdiction. And he rides around in an undercover vehicle messing with people. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Jake Holman said no department has a 2002 Sierra on their fleet. GMC Sierra. Yeah, it looked like that. That's crazy. So, hopefully the lady is okay, but she's probably going to sue the hell out the other department for even having that guy on. Hopefully he got fired too. I hope everybody in the last two clips got fired. No, the smoke is not specific for certain people. I hope everybody got fired, except for the cop that was trying to de-escalate. He was all right with me. But it could have just been a good cop, bad cop kind of situation. Like, he might normally be the asshole in the situation, but because the other guy was so much bigger asshole, he paled in comparison. And the competition was who's the bigger asshole. So he was like, hey, let this guy be a bigger asshole.
A string of car break-ins over
than me. So, so let's keep it moving. So in that last one, I don't know if it would be a 40 is the new 20, but the whole point is people who are older with a young ass mentality, immature older people. Okay? So I guess that last cop definitely fit the bill for that. So our next clip/topic, this sounds like something I might like. It says some parents catch charges for their kids' crimes. Y'all know how I feel about bad parenting, so this might be right up the alley of Purge of the BS. We love when bad parents get consequences. We love that. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. And there's supposed to be, like I said, on the vertical, there's supposed to be something that says hype. You're supposed to be able to hype the videos. I got an email about it this morning. And they said to tell people to hit the hype thing. So if you see something that says hype it, okay? So parents were charged after teens are among 3 arrested in a string of car burglaries. Let's see what we got. Hold up, no reply came back with the follow-up. Constable Joe Johnson did not get fired or put on any type of leave. He's probably 4 days from retirement. You too old to be out on the street when you that old. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was every bit of mid-70s. You don't need to be on the street. What if you encounter a gangster, a real one? Frail old man out there on the street yelling at people. Get off my grass! You know, that kind of stuff. Out of here. So anyway, let's see what this story is about. Parents charged after teens are among 3 arrested for a string of burglaries. I like
car break-ins over the weekend has now led to charges against 3 suspects and several of their parents.
Yeah.
Police in Gloucester City arrest a 16, 17, and 19-year-old over their alleged involvement in a series of burglaries early Sunday morning. But when police charged the teens, prosecutors opted to also hold their parents to account, accusing them of family.
Yeah, let's give it up. The purge is working. Told y'all, it's time to start holding these parents accountable too, man. I like
it. To supervise their children. New Jersey correspondent Trish Hartman has the details tonight.
3 arrests were made after the alleged thefts from vehicles, but the parents of the juvenile suspects were also charged. Police say it's an effort they've been using for quite some time to cut down on juvenile crime. It was early Sunday morning, around 1:30. Surveillance video shows 3 people walking near vehicles in the Highland Park section of Gloucester City. Police say it was these 3 who were arrested a short time later for breaking into cars and stealing things. You can see one trying to access cars in a driveway across the street, running from the house when a light goes on. Denise Glassman says her son-in-law's car was left unlocked on Saturday evening.
That's when he called the police and found out that they had got his car along with all the other cars on the street.
She says credit cards were stolen out of it, and his bike was also stolen out of the driveway.
His kids were upset. My grandchildren are very scared now that...
All right, so it sounds like they were walking around checking doors, car doors, to see what was open. Doesn't sound like they were breaking windows to get the stuff. They were getting what we call the low-hanging fruit. Walk down the street, check the handle. If it pops open, 30 seconds or so of searching through the car, see what's in there. Might be some change, could be some weed in there. I don't know. Depends on the car. And then they keep it moving. So that's what they were doing. So I thought they were breaking windows. Seems like they're opportunistically stealing, which doesn't make it any better, but it does minimize the damage to properties. There's that.
that there's going to be somebody coming to take their things.
Police say several vehicles were burglarized over the weekend. 3 suspects were taken into custody. 2 juveniles from Camden, 16 and 17 years old, and 19-year-old Wesley Hunter from Cherry Hill. Hunter had outstanding warrants and was turned over to Camden County Police. The juveniles were released to their parents, who were also charged with failure to supervise their child.
If somebody came to my house and said my kids did something wrong, I would take responsibility. Absolutely. These parents need to take responsibility.
The police chief says the charge typically involves an appearance in municipal court and likely a fine. Folks in the neighborhood say they're relieved to hear about the arrest, but are still taking precautions.
So between the dogs and the Ring camera, we just watch out for each other. You know, it's a small little neighborhood that we live in, and that's what we do.
All right. So I guess the lesson in this one is more about locking your freaking car doors. But I do feel that there's some progress being made where if your kids are out late doing dumb stuff and they're minors, that you can get some charges. But it sounded like a very mild charge. Doesn't sound like there's any jail time involved in it. So that's not what I was going for. So that wasn't my hope. I had a whole different hope. Yeah, I had a whole different hope. I was hoping that the parents would be charged with the crime that the child committed. So if they broke into something or they stole something, the parent would be charged with the theft. That's what I'm going for. So, this is close. They caught some charges. It's supposed to make somebody happy. I'm not happy with that. No, I want the parents catch the charges that the kids would catch. Because the kids are juveniles. You can't charge them with it. So you charge the parents. Seems fair to me. I don't know. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. All right, guys. It is time to get into the fun stuff. Like I said, they were opportunistic thieves, man. Speaking of opportunistic thieves, our troller-in-chief has been on it this week. I told y'all on Tuesday, for those that were here, I said that by Thursday I would have some things happen that I had to cover about the president. And it's very hard to keep up with that guy. I'm going to be honest with you. It's really hard to keep up with the Trump administration because the amount of distractions that every day, like you have to sift through some real BS to keep up with those folks. But I thought a funny clip that came through regarding the N-word. Apparently Trump is saying that we don't use the N-word. Now, I guess the question is, which N-word is he talking about? We are going to find out here.
Stupid.
What do you do here? Let's see. Trump speaks on the N-word. So I don't know, maybe y'all have seen this. There's been a lot of chatter this week, along with a bunch of trollage, memes, things like that coming out of the White House. No reply. What is bipping? That's stealing stuff that's available? Okay. Well, it depends. I don't know what bipping is, but I'll tell you what. They don't charge juveniles the same way that they charge adults. You can get charged with a crime, but you won't do the kind of time that you would do as an adult making the same choice. And it's because you're a child. Your frontal lobe or whatever isn't formed correctly, so. But anyway, let's see what the hell this Trumpster has to say about the N-word. All right, so he was in Quantico. He went to Quantico.
It was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear. I moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but it's something we don't ever want to even have to think about. But when somebody mentions it, that submarine started immediately thereafter. And it's just lurking, but I'm sure we're not going to have to use it. But
okay, so he's saying we have nuclear submarines off the coast of Russia. That's what he said. And I guess the word nuclear is the N-word that he's saying is one of the two words we can't use. I wonder what the second N-word is he's talking about we can't use. Any ideas? I don't know. I have no idea in this non-racially charged, merit-based society what N-word can, other than nuclear or nuke or whatever, can we not say? Such a conundrum. I have to play Scrabble to figure it out.
it's an amazing, it's undetectable, totally. Ours is, theirs isn't. Theirs are totally detectable. We can.
So why are you talking about this? It seems like he's talking about stuff that the average person and the public shouldn't even really be hearing about. So I guess this was him getting the military leaders together. So let's unpack this for a hot second and we get to the second part of it. But the military leaders getting together at this time, considering some of the volatility overseas, did seem a little interesting to me, but it was all televised. So even though he's talking about, warships and submarines and all that kind of stuff, I don't think we're going to war. Somebody said we were getting ready to go to war. But before we can go to war, that might be how they get out of the shutdown. We'll come back to that idea. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know here. Like, I feel like they do a lot of this stuff for the cinema of it, but if we need to be worried about something, could you tell us? You see what I'm saying? Like, you're getting all the generals together, you got everybody talking, and I just wonder sometimes if maybe they're just not telling us that they're mobilizing for something else. Like, why do you have nuclear warships off the coast of Russia right now? What's going on in Russia? How much does the gas cost to keep that ship going? That's all I'm saying. So let's see. What was the second one? The second one was apparently, what was this, Hegseth?
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations or really any formation and see fat troops.
All right, I'm going to pause that right there. Hold on. Because Hegseth is under fire right now because he used the F word. And apparently the F word is fat. So let's listen to the clip, see how he got in trouble. A lot of folks are upset about what he had to say, though. So let's see. Let's see.
Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations or really any formation and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year.
Hold on a second. You mean like the old guys got to do the PT test too? Like the old-ass generals that's been in, years and years? Are they going to change the PT test for them? Or are they going to hold them to the same standard as like a freaking 20-year-old Marine? That's weird. And then what happens if they don't pass the PT test? Do they lose their generalship or whatever? This is weird.
As well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year.
Whoa. Height and weight requirements. How does your height change from year to year? Weight could change. But what do you mean you got to meet height requirements every year? Are people changing their height in the military? Pete, what are you talking about, bro? What are you even talking about right now?
Every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our joint force is required to do PT every duty day. It should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual.
Pause. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. Yeah.
At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve. This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff. This is on duty, in the field, and in the rear.
Yo, he has got like at least 5 pause moments here, and nobody is saying it. This is not in the rear. He said it's on duty and in the rear. Sir. Sir.
Want a beard, you can join Special Forces.
Hold on. Okay, your beard,
If
Special
not,
Forces.
then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. But unfortunately, we have had leaders who either refuse to call BS and enforce standards, or leaders who felt like they were not allowed to enforce standards. Both are unacceptable. And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. Frank?
Okay, well, I can see why some of the folks are a little peeved, but I have to address the elephant in the room. I think I saw somebody in the chat mention it as well. When it comes to the military, if you're out in the field, if you're a military enlistee and you're in active duty, you're out in the combat field, you don't want some out-of-shape fat person around that you might have to drag somewhere, or they might have to drag you somewhere and they don't have the wind to do it. Like, we should have the military at a very high standard. I mean, isn't that the military way? It is a whole military bearing, as they call it. So yes, the military should have a higher standard. I think it gets a little slippery when you're talking about like the old generals, like the older guys, but I don't think they're considered active duty at that point. And he was pretty much talking about active duty, reserve, that group. So maybe we're not talking about the old guys. But yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with slimmer, more in shape troops. That seems like a good idea. Where the issue was coming up is they brought this up a few months back about the beards, and they said it was racist, okay? Because black people can get razor bumps from shaving their beards, right? And so they get a medical waiver, or they, up until a couple months ago, they could get a medical waiver to say, I don't have to shave because of the bumps. So with this new stuff, they can't do that. So disproportionately, it would affect black people with razor bumps. So that's why they said it was racist. But if everybody got to not have a beard, I worked a job one time years ago when I was younger, and that was the thing. You had to be like clean shaven. It was a food service job, so you couldn't have a lot of facial hair. And nobody had a medical waiver. Like, if you wanted the job, that was the criteria of the job. So I hate to say it, but for the people that do get razor bumps, like Pete said, you might have to find a different position if this is not going to fit with the standards. So I don't think I'm not going to call it racist. It will have a disproportionate effect, but it doesn't mean that just because you're black, you can't be in the military. That's what some people were trying to act like, and that's not what this is. This is him saying I want everybody's face to look like mine. And I don't mean in the color. I'm talking about the clean-shaven thing that he does. Now, I don't trust nobody that can't grow facial hair, but it's okay to shave your facial hair. So we'll see what goes on with this. But they really are making a big to-do about this shit. And I know that there is there's a lot of upheaval about making these certain things the standard. I think the physical standard is important, though. Like, if you are a Marine or whatever it is, I think the physical standard should be across the board. Because you are the military. You're supposed to be thorough. So let's keep it thorough. I don't know. You guys can feel how you feel about it. I'm presenting the information because there's been a big upheaval about it, talking about, you know, Pete Hegseth is a racist and wants to remove black people from the military. But this wasn't quite that. So that's what you thought. That wasn't quite it. So you can calm down there. But it is some BS if it comes down to like religious practices. But then at the end of the day, you're not entitled to be a military soldier. So if you can't follow whatever that job's codes are, then you got to find another job. I mean, it is what it is. The private sector will take you if you want to keep your beard. If it's that serious. Like, if it's that serious, then just come on out of the military then. I mean, I don't think they'll give you a dishonorable discharge. It'll probably be a medical discharge, something like that. But yeah, just come on out of there. Because trying to fight Pete Hegseth and them right now, that's going to be stupid. And nobody's coming to your aid. Like, nobody's going to be in front of military bases protesting for military people who get in trouble for having beards. American people don't care about their own like that. Now, if you guys were immigrants, oh, they'll be all over the place outside protesting and jumping in front of vehicles and shit. But for our military folks, don't nobody think about them. And speaking of which, since we are talking about the military and Capitol Hill, we got to go into this thing. Because as of yesterday, and I think currently, the government is shut down. All right, so you guys may be aware that the federal government went through a recent shutdown, or not went through, but is...
Let's take a look now at Capitol.
Hold on a second. They are going through a shutdown, and there's a lot of mixed emotions about it because we're getting different information. One side's blaming the other side's blaming the other side. You know, Democrats are blaming Republicans are blaming Democrats, the independents are blaming everybody. I mean, at the end of the day, let's just be real here. When the federal government shuts down, the people that are voting to keep it open, they're not losing pay. Like the Congress people, their pay doesn't get touched. So the sense of urgency isn't really on them like that. Like, they make it sound like that. And then they get in front of the press and they talk their shit. But at the end of the day, they don't really care like that. So making sure y'all understand that. All right, let's see what this was. The initial shutdown announcement as it was coming.
Capitol Hill, where the government has shut down for the first time in nearly 7 years. At midnight, the government ran out of money. Both sides are blaming the other, while millions of federal workers brace for what is a very uncertain future. What was the final chance to keep the government open failed tonight in the Senate. Majority Leader Thune and Minority Leader Schumer had this to say.
Well, I know why we're doing this, Mr. President. The Democrats' far left base said jump. The Democrat leaders said how high. But the far left's determination to oppose anything President Trump has ever said or done is not a good reason for subjecting the American people to the pain of a government shutdown.
It's natural that people understand that Donald Trump and the Republicans want to shut down and Democrats do not. We need to deal with this health care crisis now, not later. But the Republican bill fails to do that. I urge my Republican colleagues instead to join with us, work in good faith to keep the government open, keep costs down.
President Trump is threatening to fire federal workers and cut programs and benefits. He also said he can do things that are irreversible. Democrats rallied on Capitol Hill earlier today in a show of unity and demanded that Medicaid cuts be restored, saying Republicans would rather shut down the government than protect the health care of the American people. And with the government shutdown now in effect, Jay O'Brien joins us from Capitol Hill. Jay, what happens now?
Lindsay, it means the apparatus of the federal government slowly grinds to a halt. The longer a shutdown goes, the worse the effects become.
I'm going to pause it there for a second. So it's saying, or they're saying, that basically the problem is health care coverage. I've heard it's for illegal migrants as well as American people. I believe that conversation was already had, or I thought that conversation was already had, and they weren't touching Medicaid or whatever it was, right? Or they already touched it. And it seems like they're using the shutdown as a means to have the conversation. So, let me say it this way. When you are in power, you use your power. Democrats do not have a majority in the House and stuff right now. So if they do have an agenda that they want to get passed, they use their power, their filibuster, their numbers, to try to get these things passed. So if they truly feel that some coverage is being removed, they're doing the only thing they have in their options bank right now is to do what they're doing. So I'm not saying they want a shutdown. If they're trying to work for something, and they're all in unity over that, or most are in unity over that, this is the only way they can do it. Like, there's other than just trying to have a conversation later about it, but if they're trying to get something done now, this was the only leverage they had. So that's what it sounds like, is they use the leverage that they had currently to try to have a different conversation, and because the Republican side is not trying to have that conversation, therein lies our stalemate. So, okay. All right. I'm not mad at them for it. Like I said, it's annoying because the government shutdown affects people other than the people that vote for it. But if you're a Democrat down there right now, you're outnumbered, and you really don't have a lot to stand on, you do what you can. And this is them doing what they can. This is democracy. This is how it works. Sucks. But yeah, this is how it works.
Come because money begins to dry up. For the nearly 4 million federal employees, it means that if the government shutdown continues to roll into the month of October, they will start missing paychecks. The first federal paycheck of October is already going to be processed because it's money that was already set to go out this week. But then there's another paycheck that comes up for federal employees. We're talking about troops, their families, other federal employees in the middle of the month. And if the shutdown lasts until then, they will miss that crucial paycheck. There will be some employees that are told to come to work and still work without getting paid, and they will ultimately get back pay assuming the shutdown ends. Those are employees like TSA agents, air traffic controllers, people that do weather forecasting for the National Weather Service. And then other federal employees will be furloughed and told not to show up to work. That will start to happen today in Washington, D.C., OMB says. Those employees will start to get their marching orders as of today. But as the shutdown grinds on, if it lasts for a certain chunk of time, money will start to dry up in key federal programs like SNAP, which is the Nutrition Assistance Program for lower income Americans, like WIC, which is nutrition assistance for mothers and infants. And the list goes on. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, that will still be processed, but you could also see delays there too the longer the shutdown rolls. It is a slow grinding, as I said, of the federal government to a halt that could be seriously detrimental for millions of Americans.
Okay. Run it past Chinese. He's not. I don't know what he is. I'm skipping through. Like I said, I need full context here because I'm getting a lot of mixed comments on the internet about how people feel about this. And it's not about feelings. I need information. Like, what is this actually doing? What's actually happening? And how does it really affect the everyday person like myself? So already, September 30th was the day when they were going to do the severance. Or I want to say it was about 300,000 people who had agreed to like move on, and they get a severance for like 6 months. I forgot what the specifics were, but I remember hearing about this. But that just happened too. So where's that money coming from? If you can pay 300,000 people for 6 months based on, well, I guess because the money was already allocated months ago. But yeah, they don't seem to have a problem with that. So there's people that are leaving on purpose. They're going to get paid. But the people that are staying are not going to get paid. Seems a little backwards. Let's see what Senator Andy Kim has to say. But so far, it just definitely sounds like some bullshit. Because of 300,000 people just left on the 30th with severance pay for 6 months. We heard about months ago. We knew this was going on. Nobody was paying attention to it. Nobody was talking about it 3 days ago. But that still happened. They never came and said that wasn't happening for those 300,000 people. So there's 300,000 people that are no longer working for the federal government that are getting paid right now. And there's millions of people who do work for the federal government and are not getting paid right now. Okay, all right.
So while those service members that you were just talking about, federal workers, are going to have to show up to work tomorrow and not get paid, these Republican members of Congress refuse to even show up to work and do their job. That is why we're here today.
You held a town hall tonight to talk with your constituents about the impacts of a shutdown. Tell us about that conversation.
Yeah, right after the votes that we had in the Senate, I did a telephone town hall to reach across all across New Jersey. We had over 6,000 people dial in to be able to listen to this. And what I heard from them was really powerful. People talking about, there was a woman named Lucinda who talked about the concerns that she has. She told me to hold the line because she cannot afford her health care. She would have to give it up if she's not able to continue to get the support for the ACA through the marketplace. I had a woman named Barbara who talked about the challenges that her family's facing, but she put it in that context saying that this is a challenge that people are hearing and facing all across America right now. This is real. You know, this is something that cannot be looked at as just some partisan power struggle, as a tug of war between political parties trying to see who they blame. Real lives are at stake. Tomorrow and in the coming days, millions of Americans will realize that their health care is going to go through the roof. Many of them will see their prices double. About 4.5 million Americans will lose their health care. Over 20 million Americans will have to pay extraordinary prices. This is a crisis of the Republicans making.
Then why the hell did y'all wait till the 11th hour to be talking about it then? Y'all was over there focused on everything but this if it was that damn important. That's all I'm saying. We're going to wait till 11:35 at night and the midnight shutdown, and now we want to have this conversation. No, the conversation was meant to be had when they got the big, beautiful bill passed, to be honest with you, but apparently it didn't happen then. So now they're using the leverage of the shutdown to try to revisit the conversation. I get it. And that's the thing. At this point, we need to be honest about what's going on. Everybody's got their agenda that they need to, okay? But what lays in the balance is the American people, the lifestyle and livelihoods of American people. The job market is shit right now. They did a report the other day. They say, yo, keep your jobs. If you have a job, do not quit your job, because the numbers are lying. It's not a whole bunch of work out here. And even if there is work, it's not for good wages. Not a livable wage. It's not $65,000+. You're going to be making $35,000. Too much to qualify for help, not enough to be helpful. You see what I'm saying? So the shutdown situation, it brings me to the whole, where's the middle ground here, right? If one side is 100% sure that they want Medicare coverage to be untouched, but I believe, just from what I'm hearing, that there's an inclusion of illegal immigrants in something that's causing the back and forth. And at this point, I want my government to get paid. I would definitely want my military to get paid. You can't be expecting them to follow your little shaving standards and whatever other standards you want to roll out on them if you're not going to pay them. Definitely want them to get paid. Whoever's working for the government, want them to get paid. I don't mind some slowness for a second while they right the ship, but this won't go on too long because the government has to run. And they got money. They always have the money. They just whether or not they want to spend it. So they got the money, and that's what will happen. At the end of it, they'll write something. Everybody will get back pay. Where's that money coming from? You see what I'm saying? So they got the money. It's just everybody's got their little thing they want to push through or not push through or whatever. And they're pretty much just fighting about that right now. What they need to do is they need to find a way to negotiate. Because I don't believe that the entire system is going to crash. I don't. I believe that there are certain changes that'll be made. But I don't believe that the whole system of Medicare crashes because it's connected to our pharmaceutical companies. It's connected to our state organizations. I mean, there's a lot of fingers in Medicaid, so it doesn't crash out. Just some people would not have it. And the less people that have those programs, the less those companies can bill the federal government or state government or whoever's providing the financing. So there's money to be lost in people not having it, if that makes sense. Not necessarily on one side, it looks like it's money to be gained, and it is, because they're not paying for covering these people. But then those people are not being covered through federal government. So when these companies are trying to bill for them, they won't be able to bill the government for them. So they're going to lose money too. So there's a lot to that. That's an interesting one. But I want to tell you this. This thing, this little shutdown, has made our Democratic Party decide that they need to find new leadership. And I've been warning y'all for months. Actually, it might have been almost a year at this point that I've been warning everybody about this push to get folks behind AOC. Now, I know AOC is crazy. I do. But she's in the streets, so to speak. People know her. She's pretty. And it seems like she's become the face and the voice of the Democratic Party, at least currently. It changes. But she said she's ready to negotiate. So I'm going to put her clip up for any of our Republican cohorts that might watch the show. And letting you know that AOC is saying that her office is open. So let me bring this over here. Let me bring it over. Hold on. I don't know. Y'all like AOC? Anybody in here a AOC fan? For any reason other than how she looks? Because I'm not going to take away from the fact that the woman is attractive. She's a very pretty woman. Nice smile, you know. She's got a little bit of an annoying voice, like when she really gets emotional. It's a very shrill voice, but she's pretty. So at least there's that. She's got that going for her. She's definitely better looking than Bernie Sanders or somebody. You know, if you got to look at somebody for an hour, might be better to be her. So let's see what happens. She went on what is this, an interview last night and decided to let everybody know that she's ready to negotiate. So let's see what she got. Sorry, I got to bring it over here and then.
Technicality.
Okay, let's bring her on. Got here.
Of this. But what is important to understand is that the way that you honor an agreement and the way that we honor our fight for health care and to define and to also protect everyday Americans' ability to afford their health care, to cover their kids, to defend Medicaid. Those are the same mechanisms that we use to defend our rule of law, to defend the federal workers that we are trying to protect in this shutdown. You know, Donald Trump is trying to play this bluffing game of, well, maybe what we're going to do is hold all the federal workforce hostage and fire everybody. Donald Trump has been firing everybody. We saw this with DOJ. We've seen this at the State Department. We've seen this at the Department of Justice. They are firing everybody. They are completely eliminating the federal workforce. And in order for us to stop this madness, we have to put a stop to it. And we have to stop enabling their abuse of power, including their use of rescissions. And when we're fighting on their health care, it forces them to act in ways in accordance with the law in other ways, too.
Let me ask you this. There are some people I have seen who have the following theory of why Senate Democrats have not cut a deal where they give 8 votes and move along. And that is that Chuck Schumer is worried about a primary challenge from you and is worried about the politics to his left flank. And so because of that worry about a primary challenge, he's going to shut down the government. Ergo, it is AOC's fault that the government's shutting down, or that you're somehow the kind of fulcrum of this. And I want to just ask you straight up, like, are you planning to primary challenge him? Do you think that's why he's doing this?
This is so not about me in this moment. This is about people being able to insure their children. And I will say, because I saw some senators speculating about this, and I saw some Republican members of Congress saying, oh, well, if we have this shutdown, it's because of AOC. Well, if that's the case, my office is open and you are free to walk in and negotiate with me directly. Because what I'm not going to do is tolerate 4 million uninsured Americans because Donald Trump decided one day that he wants to just make sure that kids are dying because they don't have access to insurance.
Well, hold on a second. Are kids dying already? Is that what happened? Hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I don't know. Like I said, there's some context missing in all of this. But at least AOC she said she's willing to negotiate. Let's let her finish.
That's what's not going to happen. And so if those senators think that we're having a shutdown because of me, they're free to enter my office and negotiate, because what we're not going to do is allow all of millions of people in this country to not be able to afford their insulin and their chemotherapy. So come strike a deal with me if that's what they really think is going on.
There is, over the last week, it seems a lot of people, and I include myself among them, feel like a sort of rising sense of alarm about the aggressiveness of the sort of authoritarian aspirations of this government, essentially firing a U.S. attorney to replace him with a patsy who will indict a political enemy. The continued threat of using the military on American citizens, the ordering the troops to Portland and then backing up because it was 5-year-old B-roll. I don't know. Do you feel the same way over this last week or two? Does it feel like continuity to you? Are there conversations in your caucus about what this last week has meant?
I think there's two things that are happening at once, and this is something that's very important for people to understand. One, there absolutely is an unprecedented abuse of power, destruction of norms, erosion of our government and our democracy in order to prop up an authoritarian style of governance. That is happening. However, they are weaker than they look. And it is important that we remember that, because what they rely on is the impression of power, the perception of inevitability, in us giving up in advance to say, oh, what's going to happen if I stand up, etc. Nothing's going to happen. They rely on that perception of inevitability and power so that people comply in advance and acquiesce in advance and give up in advance. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is at record levels of unpopularity in his tenure. The Republican House is at record levels of unpopularity. They are underwater across the board. Yeah,
but they're not voting against that shit. So you say what you want, but they've still voting with them. So unpopular as they may be, they still sticking the party lines and getting stuff pushed around. So.
And they know it. And that is causing them to double down in public, but it is backfiring. That is why, whether it's a shutdown, whether it's all of this, they want us to blink first. And we have too much to save. Protecting people is too important a task for us to give up before anything even starts. So they may want to send people in, but these National Guardsmen do not want to be turned against their fellow Americans. We're seeing this here in Washington, D.C. It is an insult. Donald Trump is insulting the service members of this country by putting them on these silly tasks that they themselves do not want to be enforcing. And so we have to understand that standing up matters, that our voice matters, to not give in to the cynicism, because that is what they rely on in order to perpetuate this idea that they are that they have total immunity from consequence.
All right, I'm gonna stop her there. Okay. Look, at this point, I'm going to say this. She definitely didn't answer the question about primarying against Chuck Schumer. So I will venture to say that there is some truth to that, because, like I said, people are looking for a change, whatever that change may be. Sometimes it's Donald Trump, sometimes it's AOC. Either way, something got to give. Because right now, like we said, yes, the military just got paid their monthly check for October. But there's hundreds of thousands of people who work in federal offices who've been sent home. That's who I'm a little more worried about initially. If you've ever worked for the federal government during a shutdown, the federal government also has a number of federal contractors. Federal contractors are normally the first ones to go. So if you're under a contract, a renewable, 2-year contract, your contract is going to end. So that there are some reaching areas that people are not considering that'll be affected before the military. The military, I thought, had funding anyway. They probably still have money from whatever they had before. So I don't think we're going to have a problem with the military. What I worry about is contractors. I'll be honest. That's the first line of who gets fired is federal contractors. And that's a lot of people whose livelihoods have been based on contracting with the feds. So I need to know more about exactly what the hell this Medicare thing is. If it's a whole bunch about covering illegal migrants, then it's going to be a stalemate because, the Trump administration is trying to deport people every day. They don't want to take on additional bills for supporting illegal migrants. So if that's what the fight is over, because that's what I've heard in some forums, then that's not going to move. That's not going to move. So we're gonna see here. Like I said, I wish the best for AOC because she's from New York, and I love New York, and I like to see a lady doing the right thing. She's not horrible. Like she may not be the smartest person you've ever met, but she's also not out here on the streets selling cooch and robbing dudes and drugging their drinks and stuff like that. So there's that. But I don't think that she would win if she went up against like a J.D. Vance. America wouldn't be ready for that. She'd do well. People would, they'd do like they did with Kamala Harris. They'll have people thinking she was going to win, but at the end of it, so she would have to put the right person as her vice, and maybe. But I think she should just keep doing what she's doing. Stay in Congress. I think she's more effective there for whatever her agendas are. If she was trying to run for office, they'll make her look bad, and then we'll never see her again. So whatever good she has to do, I would like her to keep doing it and stay in the Congress area. Fight the good fight, AOC, because I don't know what's really going on, but if it's really something serious and you're down there fighting the good fight, I want you to keep doing that. Okay, that's what democracy is about. Maybe I don't agree with everything she has to say, but at least she is fighting the good fight down there. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I really have to look further into it because I'm sort of on the fence about this whole thing because it could be one group just chose the wrong time to have a conversation that the other group is saying they could have had later, but I would believe that the other group would probably not want to have the conversation later because they don't want to have the conversation now anyway. So that's kind of some BS. But then there's the point of, hey, we got a whole federal government that needs to be run. If we're hinging it on illegal migrants' health care coverage, that just seems un-American to me. What about the American people? So I will dig into this a little further because the shutdown just happened. It just started. And I know they're going to get back pay. Everybody's going to get back pay. But that doesn't mean that, for the people that get a 2-week check that might live paycheck to paycheck, that's not going to have an effect on, their car might get repoed or something, depending on how long this thing goes on. And even if you can get back pay, some things are monthly. So go more than 30 days. If your money ain't right, you're losing something. So I don't know. Let's see what you guys have for me in the chat. Yes, no reply. You're correct. AOC is a college Marxist who has a face that is easy to draw. Now, if you mean easy to draw, like draw on paper, that's fine. I also think her face is a draw. She's a pretty woman. Like, you can hate her all you want, but she's not ugly. So she's easy to look at when she's talking. But then if you focus on her voice, it gets a little shrill sometimes when she gets real emotional. But other than that, we're in America. We like a pretty face. Men and women prefer a pretty face in front of them. Whether you don't have to be gay or anything if you're a woman. Women prefer a pretty face in front of them. Everybody does. So AOC can be propped up because of that. If they get her, on the right track, she'll do well. Like I said, I don't think she would win, but I think she could do pretty well. She get good momentum going, because people do like these radical types, and she's always on social media, and she seems like, I'm not going to say she seems down to earth, but she's a little more relatable than most of the senators and stuff. So yeah, she could do a run. So I don't know, you guys. What do you guys think? You guys think AOC should run for president, or at minimum be considered the leader of the Democratic Party? I think she should stay right where she is. Just stay in Congress, be part of your little squad. She gets plenty of press through that. And I think that's the place where you can make changes, so you should be there. That's just my bold statement on it. But get away from AOC. Get ready to close this out. All right. Well, guys, we are 2 days into our government shutdown. I have a few friends that have already had to deal with some, going home and furloughs and so on and so forth. So we're going to see where this thing goes, because that's all we can do. Because the government people are not the ones that are taking the pay cut. It is us, the regular people. And I mean, we covered a lot today. We covered accountability, some controversy, a little bit of chaos with the police officers. But at the end of the day, we definitely had to purge this BS, because this is the world we live in. At times, it does feel like cinema. At times, it does feel like, are we even really here? Or is this some weird social experiment that we're all just taking part of? And to a degree, I believe it is. And Jay Coleman, like I said, I have my opinions on AOC. I'm just saying, visually, she's easy to look at. So that's one thing that will play in her favor going forward. Not saying she's the best looking woman in the whole world. I'm just saying, if you put her up against most of them senators, them old fuddy-duddy Karen looking ones, killing them. So the Democratic Party, if they prop her up correctly, they might be able to get some headway, but I just don't see it as like she could win the presidency. But you're willing to, and I'm all for anybody trying. I'm all for goals. I'm just saying, it seems like it'd be a waste of money and time. But anyway, let me give my shout outs out here. And make sure if you enjoyed the episode, you like the content, make sure you support the content. Make sure you jump on the Discord as well, which I'm hoping the link is up in the chat somewhere, because I can't pull it right now. But make sure you join the Discord conversation. All my mods, y'all, all the mods should be in the Discord. If nobody else, mods, y'all need to be in the Discord. But let's make sure that we have this together, guys. 40 is the new 20 as a concept today. Had to do with people with young-mindedness, but they're older. And I think we've seen enough of that today. I think we've seen that from our president with his trollage of Cory Booker and the Mexican hats, the sombrero thing. Like, this is the government. Let's stop trolling each other like this. It's very elementary. And meanwhile, we still didn't get the Epstein files, and gas is still too damn high. So while you're playing around with your social media accounts, White House, POTUS, everybody, meanwhile, the American people out here still struggling, still wondering where their next meal is coming from, some of them. And so I don't have any time for y'all to keep bluffing and bullshitting. Let's get back to the table. AOC said her door is open. So let's go ahead and work that out. Got the holiday season coming around. And I think the last shutdown was a Trump shutdown, but it was only about a month. So that first month, the ones you got to look out for are federal contractors. So if you're contracted with the feds right now, I'm hoping the best for you, because I know that's where they start when they start cutting. They start cutting the contract. So nonetheless, Jay Coleman said, compared to Pelosi, she's gorgeous. You know what? Compared to Pelosi, my dog is gorgeous. Okay? And I don't have an ugly dog. I'm just saying, Like if I had to hug either one, I'd hug my dog before I would hug Nancy Pelosi. Okay. She looks like she has that smegma scent, you know, where a person got that halitosis in the back of their throat, just uncurable halitosis. A tricky wisdom tooth back there that's just spitting out a scent. But anyway, so make sure you check out our shop on freemanservices.org/shop if you want to support the company and support our show sponsor and support Fair Chance Employment and Hiring Tactics. So that's what we get down with. We're trying to make sure everybody has an opportunity out here, an opportunity to purge the BS within themselves and purge the BS within society. So that's how we get it down. But special shouts to my mods in here. Special shouts to Purple Groovy for stopping in. I know Purple Groovy likes to sit on the side and have fun in the stands and making sure everybody's acting right. I appreciate you, Purple Groovy. This gong is for you. Shouts out to, of course, No Reply. Shouts to Jay Coleman in the chat as usual. Good to see you come back. Special shouts to IMZ, Al Bond, all my mods, everybody. And special shouts to Abyss Music Group that just subscribed. Thank you for that. Make sure that you come back on the Saturday show. We got a panel coming up this Saturday, so we're going to be getting into some stuff there. And we will be going over our troller-in-chief and the effect of social media trolling when it comes to our politicians. Do we take them seriously or do we not? Make sure you come back for that Saturday joint. Let me see who else we got. Al Bond, of course. That's my sergeant at arms. He's the master of the moderators. People just don't know that. That's my guy, though. That's family. That's a real family. And I appreciate you, Al Bond. Al, I appreciate you, bro. You've been supporting the channel since we first started this thing. And out of close family members, you would probably be the only one that's done that. So I do appreciate that. Sticking with us, man. Sticking with us. So anyway, you guys enjoy the remainder of your day. Go out there, do something productive. Because if you're not part of the productivity of this world, then you are part of the negativity of this world. And if you're part of the negative, that, my friends, is the bullshit. We out. Peace. Yeah.